Okay, here we are for the first garden tour video. It's been a cloudy, very humid, warm day. We've had some rain and the sun has finally come out in the evening. I've got my wellies on and I thought we'd do just the vegetable garden so this video doesn't end up being so very long. So here we go, walking down my deck stairs, down the garden path. There's my shadow. Sun's behind me, setting in the evening, and here's the entrance to the garden. The garden, vegetable garden, is shaped like an M. Don't know if you can tell that from looking at it, but it is. The beds are, about 10 to 12 feet long and 2.5 to 3 feet wide. A little wider than they were originally. They were about 2 feet wide originally, but I have been secretly making them wider. Bookman doesn't know it, but now he does. So, secret's out. So we're gonna go around the outside, and here we start on the outside leg of the M. This used to be garlic in that spot. It was Spanish red, and we pulled it up recently and it didn't bulb, so no Spanish red, unfortunately. Maybe better luck next year. Next we have tomatoes and marigolds interplanted, and there's some beans planted in there too, and some basil. Tomatoes are doing pretty well. We have one slicing tomato, I can't remember what variety it is, and four paste tomatoes. Can't remember what those are called, what variety those are either. But they're all got little tomatoes on them, so hopefully soon we'll get to taste them. Eggplant and bell peppers. And we've got some good sized peppers coming on there. I don't know if you can see that at all with the sun, but there's some nice peppers in there. This is quinoa. It's an experiment that hasn't gone too well. It's had problems with a virus or a fungus or something. It all sprouted up really well, and then it started getting red spots all over it, and I pulled out all the infected ones, and these are what's left. And what's left has been ravaged by something eating all the leaves. They look awful. Looks like there might eventually be some flowers, but I'm not holding my breath. And even if we do get quinoa, it certainly won't be enough for a meal. We'll have to mix it in with store-bought, unfortunately. That's the way it goes. Next to the quinoa is cantaloupe. This is a variety called Minnesota Midget. It's lining and has flowers all over it. The melons are probably about the size of a softball or a large baseball. Big enough for 2 people to eat a whole one. So they're really tasty. Then we have zucchini. You can see there's a tiny zucchini there at the end of the flower. Yum. I planted 4 because the seeds were a couple years old already, thinking, oh, they won't all come up. Well, they did. We had 2 zucchini plants last year, and they were way too many to keep up with, and now we have 4 zucchini plants this year, and I'll be leaving zucchini gifts with all my neighbors and coworkers. This is Malabar spinach. It's a vining annual plant. I've never grown it before. It's not really spinach. It's little pink flowers on it. The leaves are what's the edible part. They're thick and kind of mucusy, so you have to cook them. Haven't had them yet because it doesn't seem like there aren't enough leaves to pick. And I don't want to pick enough to eat and then kill my plant. So hopefully in a few weeks we'll get a chance to try it. It likes the heat and it's just starting to really get hot. So wish me luck. Then there's the peas. The peas have all been picked, but they're having a second growth spurt, and I hope they will give me more peas before the season's over. Fingers crossed on that one. Peas were really tasty that we already got. Some mustard that sprouted up after last year picking the mustard, dropping seeds. Made mustard out of it. It was really spicy, but very tasty. Okay, we're going up the inside of one of the M legs here. You can see my shadow. I'll try to get out of the way. This is German garlic, hard-necked garlic, and we're waiting for it to die back just a little bit more before we see if we have bulbs on this one. Hopefully we will, fingers crossed. This is Boston pickling cucumber. Not as much came up as I had hoped, but still a good amount. So hopefully we'll get some nice, yummy cucumbers for pickles. Can you see that one little pickle? Cucumber, soon to be a pickle. Then between the cucumbers and the peas are beans. Whole row of beans, and more beans, and more beans. They're cocoa noir is what they're called. They're a black bean, and you use them dried mostly. So you leave them on the plant until the pods turn brown. You see all the pods in there. And they dry themselves on the plant, and then you cook them up. We'll probably be making burritos with them, or who knows what else. Then between the beans and the zucchini is another squash. It's a summer squash called lemon squash. I've never grown it before. It was a free packet from the seed company. It gets to be supposedly about softball size, and they're round and yellow like a lemon, so that's why they're called lemon squash. We'll see how they turn out. Then next to the beans, this is the middle leg of the M. We have kale. Yum yum. Bookman will be making us something with this tomorrow night for dinner. This evening for dinner we had green beans with tofu and rice and onions and garlic. Picked the green beans this morning. These are the same beans we grew last year. The yellow wax bush beans and the purple beans. I don't remember what the variety is called. The purple beans turn green when you cook them. That was a big surprise. But they're pretty before you cook them. Well, they're still pretty even after you cook them. Then we're going to actually move around because I have a big pollinator plant planted here. This is Anise hyssop. It was planted last year and it got about knee high. This year it's about up to my neck. Great pollinator plant, and it tastes like licorice. Just starting to flower, and hopefully tomorrow, if it's sunny, I plan to pick a few leaves of this and mix it with some fresh peppermint leaves and make some tea. Next to it, if you can see in the shadow, is culinary thyme, planted this spring. There's the froggy fountain. And another pollinator plant just planted this spring is bee balm. Variety is Jacob Klein. So it'll have red flowers eventually, hopefully, attracting bees and butterflies and, cross my fingers, hummingbirds. And then we're back at the beginning, but I skipped over this little part, this is mostly clover that I planted in here because I didn't have much else to plant at that spot. But we're also growing some fennel. If you can see, that's a little fennel. And then we've got some lettuce that was sprouted from last year. This is where we planted lettuce last year. And after it bolted, we just let it flower and it sort of reseeded itself. There's also some volunteer radish that reseeded itself from last year too. And that's the vegetable garden. Give you another look here. Hope you enjoyed the first tour.